The rain was relentless, drumming against the jungle canopy like an erratic heartbeat. Thick fog clung to the ground, twisting and swirling around the boots of the soldiers from Alpha Platoon as they trudged cautiously through the dense Vietnamese jungle. The only sounds were the patter of the rain, the occasional rustle of leaves, and the soft squish of mud underfoot. Lieutenant Mike Harris motioned for his men to halt. The platoon flows, gripping their M16 rifles, ears straining for any sign of movement beyond the veil of mist. Something was off. The jungle, usually alive with the buzz of insects and occasional call of distant animals, was unnervingly silent. Harris leaned towards Sergeant Owens, his voice low whisper. "You hear that?" Owens nodded, his eyes scanning the fog. "I don't like it, sir. It feels wrong." The platoon's mission was routine reconnaissance of a suspected Viet-Cong supply route. But as the rain and fog thickened, the jungle seemed to warp, taking an almost outworldly quality. Visibility was reduced to mere feet, and the men began to feel as though they were being watched. Private Timmy Grayson, the youngest in the platoon, shoveled out, muttered under his breath, "This place is cursed, man. I swear this motherfucker is cursed." "Shut it, Grayson," snapped Corporal Diaz, his voice harsher than intended. The nerves were getting to everyone. Then it came, a low guttural growl that sent shivers racing up their spines. It wasn't a sound any of them had ever heard before. Not a tiger, not a dog, not anything natural. It seemed to vibrate through the air, primal and menacing. "Positions!" Harris barked, snapping the men into action. They dropped to a defensive perimeter, rifles aimed outward into the swirling mist. The growl came again, closer this time. "Anyone got eyes on?" Harris asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "No, sir," came Owens' reply. "Whatever it is out there, it's moving, though." A shadow flickered in the fog, barely visible. Grayson fired a burst. The muzzle flashed, lighting up the mist like a strobe. The sound of the shots echoed through the jungle, but when the noise died, there was nothing. No movement, no body. "Cease fire," Harris ordered. "Hold your positions." But the growls multiplied from one to two to what sounded like an entire pack of shadows began to dart through the fog. Too quick and too large to be men, the soldiers' breaths came in sharp, shallow bursts as a adrenaline surge. And it struck. The first attack came from the left flank, a blur of fur and claws torn to Private Denny, dragging him screaming into the mist. The platoon opened up fire as bullets ripping into the foliage, but the rain and fog distorted their aim. Another soldier, Jackson, went down, his throat torn open before anyone could react. Fall back! Fall back!" Harris yelled. "Get to the clearing!" Men scrambled, firing wildly as they retreated. The growls and howls surround them, echoing in the mist. One of the creatures leaped from the fog, landing in front of Diaz. It stood on two legs, towering over him, its yellow eyes glowing in the gloom. Diaz screamed and unloaded his rifle point blank, the rounds tearing into the beast's chest. It staggered but didn't fall, its jaws open in a snarl before it pounced, taking him to the ground. Harris and Owens managed to drag the remaining men, Grayson, Parker, and Michaels, into the clearing, a small open space in the jungle where the fog was slightly thinner. They formed a tight circle, their rifles trained outwards. "Silver bullets," Grayson stammered, his voice shaking. "You need silver bullets to kill werewolves, that's what they say." "Shut up, Grayson," Owens barked. "This ain't a goddamn movie, man." But Harris couldn't ignore the truth. These things weren't human and they weren't animals. He seen them up close, hulking figures covered in matted fur, their teeth glistering with blood, their eyes burning with an unnatural hatred. The growls closed in, the fog swirling as the beast circled the clearing. Harris glanced at Owens. "Grenades now!" Owens nodded, pulling a frag from his belt. The rest of the men followed in suit. "On my mark," Harris said, his voice steady despite the fear clawing at his insides. "1, 2, 3! They hurled their grenades into the mist. The explosion shattered the night, fire and shrapnel ripping through the fog. The howls of the creatures turned to screams of pain, but they didn't stop. A massive figure burst into the clearing, bloody but alive, his claws extended. Harris raised his rifle and emptied the magazine into his chest. The creature stumbled, growled, and lunged at the last second. Owens tackled it, driving his combat knife into his neck. The beast howled, thrashing wildly, but Owens didn't let go. "Go, sir! Get the men out of here!" Owens. "No!" Harris shouted, but it was too late. The sergeant was dragged into the forest, his screams echoing as the pack descended on him. Harris turned to the others. "Move now! Move now!" The remaining soldiers ran, hearts pounding until they stumbled upon a river. The fog began to lift slightly, but the rain continued to fall. Behind them, the howls grew distant as if the creatures had decided to let them go. When they finally reached a safe zone at an abandoned village, Harris took stock. Only 4 of them remained: himself, Grayson, Parker, and Michaels. They were soaked, bloody, and broken. As they huddled under a thatch hood, Grayson spoke to his voice barely above a whisper. "What the hell was those things, sir?" Harris didn't answer. He didn't have to. The word hung unspoken between them, heavy and undeniable. Werewolves. They were fucking werewolves. As the rain continued to fall, Harris couldn't shake the feeling that they were still being watched. Somewhere out there in the jungle, the pack was waiting, and it would be back.